Welcome to ETF Edge, your go-to place for everything exchange-traded funds. I'm your host, Bob Pisani. Two hot issues in ETF land, crypto and active ETFs, which are having a moment in 2023. Let's talk with Rick Edelman. He's the founder of the Digital Assets Council of Financial Professionals and former head of Edelman Financial Engines. And Holly Framstead, she's Capital Group Director of ETFs, which runs one of the largest suite of active ETFs out there. Rick, before we get to crypto, you were for many years Barron's #1 independent financial advisor, and you ran Edelman Financial Engines. So what do you tell investors who might have been rattled by the events in Israel over the weekend?
Well, Bob, first of all, our hearts and prayers go out to everybody in Israel who's just dealing with this horrific situation. We need to remember that we can't let our emotions interfere with our economic, financial, and wealth management decisions. You need to have all this figured out in advance because these kind of shocks to the system occur from time to time, as we well know. You don't want to be a knee-jerk reaction. You don't want to sell in a panic. That never does anybody any good. So if you've got plenty of cash reserves and you've got a diversified long-term portfolio designed for your long-term goals, you can sit tight and focus on the humanity of this rather than your portfolio.
Good advice, as always. Let me turn to crypto. Last week, we had 9 Ethereum futures ETFs pass. We had the head of ProShares here talking to us, Simeon Hyman, about that. But the public doesn't seem interested. I'm looking at these numbers now. There's literally a few $1 million in any of them. Like there's $8 million in the biggest one. We had this huge welcome for the Bitcoin futures ETF
$1 billion
in 2021. Yeah. And now this, low volume, low assets under management. What's going on? Are we losing interest in crypto?
I think everybody is, true of the stock markets and bond markets as well, in a waiting pattern to see what's going on in the world, what's going to happen next. In the case of crypto specifically, when Crypt-uh-oh generated $1 billion on its launch of Bitcoin futures, that was because it was brand new, and frankly, Bitcoin was doing fabulous at the time in 2021, and a lot of folks really didn't understand exactly what that fund was, being Bitcoin futures. You fast forward a couple of years, people have learned a lot, and crypto is not doing as well price-wise as it was 2 years ago. We are recognizing that Bitcoin futures are different from a spot Bitcoin, and Ethereum futures are different from Ethereum spot. So people are recognizing, I don't ordinarily buy futures, so why would I suddenly, if I'm not buying futures in the stock market, why would I buy futures in the crypto market? And therefore, for all those reasons, I think there's a little bit of shrugging of shoulders over this.
I'm wondering whether we're at an important moment here for the Bitcoin ETF. So Gary Gensler, the chair of the SEC, he's been an opponent of a spot Bitcoin ETF. He has less than a week to appeal a very important decision that went against him, the grayscale ruling, where in the court, those of you who don't know this, the grayscale ruling, the court basically said, you, Gary Gensler, have approved a Bitcoin futures ETF that is a like product to a spot Bitcoin, and if you approve one, you have to approve the other. And he has 45 days to appeal that. It's up this week. So what is Gensler going to do here? Any sign his opposition to crypto is lessening?
Gary Gensler has essentially said, you can eat ketchup, but you can't eat tomatoes. It makes no sense. Everybody seems to understand that if you're saying okay to a futures, how can you not say okay to the underlying asset itself? And everybody seems to understand that the existence of a spot Bitcoin ETF would improve consumer safety. What Gensler's doing is acting like they did back in the 1930s with Prohibition. By prohibiting people from drinking alcohol, they thought that people would actually stop it. Well, they didn't. They just were chased into speakeasies. The absence of a spot Bitcoin ETF isn't stopping people from buying crypto. It's just forcing them to pay for exotic products that cost more and have less liquidity and higher risk. So everybody gets it except Gensler. He's losing everywhere. Congress is angry at him. 4 members of Congress, two from both parties, just wrote a letter demanding that he approve the ETF. We've got the courts ruling against him. We've got the media opposing him. Investors are opposing him. So for all these reasons, there's increasing hope that soon the SEC will get out of the way and allow these to come to market just like they exist in Canada and Australia and Europe.